it was so complicated. I thought,
Yes,
really,
yes.
years of therapy are really necessary. Years, you know. And finally, I realized, no, that's not true. Years of therapy are not necessary. Just really realizing what reality is. This mind is just a small part of just a very superficial part of who we are. And even our emotions, it's all this agitated thing it's like on the surface, but we're much deeper than that. And all we need to do is get quiet and let that thought go. And suddenly everything gets brighter, you know, and we're literally lighter, I think. Literally lighter because we're filled with light.
Welcome to Letting Go and the Greatest Secret, where we explore the end of your suffering and the beginning of lasting happiness. I'm Hale Dwoskin, and today I'll be speaking with Marc Allen. Marc Allen is an internationally renowned seminar leader, entrepreneur, author, and composer. He co-founded the New World Library in 1977 and has guided the company as president and publisher from a small startup to its current position as a major player in the independent publishing world. As a gifted speaker and seminar leader, Marc works with people around the globe to craft lives of lasting abundance and prosperity. I'm, again, really thrilled to be having this conversation. And something that Marc mentioned to me as we were just having a brief discussion before we got started is that he likes to start sessions that he does with a brief meditation. So let's just start there. So take it away, Marc.
Wonderful. Thanks, Hale. Thanks. I'm delighted to be here. This is a wonderful podcast you're doing with some amazing people, that's for sure. And yes, with your permission, whatever I do, I love to start with what I call the 3-breath entry. And it's just, you can even do it in one breath if you're in a hurry, but we're not in a hurry. So
No, we're not.
let's do it. So join me if you wish. I just suggest just get comfortable. I often loosen my belt, which I'll do right now, actually. Okay. And just relax, and then just close your eyes, take a deep breath, and just imagine, feel that energy at the top of your head, that light energy at the crown of your head. Take a deep breath, and as you exhale, just let that light filter down through your whole body, and just imagine it cleansing and healing and dissolving all tension, going through your whole body slowly as you breathe out, leaving you empty and light. Do another time. Feel that energy at the crown of your head going through your body, dissolving all stress, all tension, everything. Just let it all go. One more time. Feel the top of your head and just feel that light descending, letting go of everything, letting go of all thought, even. Now just feel your presence. Look within and feel that wonderful field of energy. I close my eyes and see a field of light. And I feel that light and life in every cell of my body, nurturing and healing every cell. And I know that light and life and love is who and what I am now and forever. Just take a moment and bathe in that ocean of light and realize that is who and what you are now and forever. that always seems like a good place to start any kind of discussion.
Definitely.
Thank you, Hale. Thank you for letting me do that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that with all of us.
I do it for myself more than anybody else.
Well, I'm sure we're all happy to join you in that.
Good, wonderful.
Yeah, when I do these things called group releases when I do my seminars or retreats, and I always start them. I don't tie them to the breath, although that might be fun. But I always start them with, in this moment, could you just simply pause or stop?
Yes.
And notice what is.
Yes.
And or just be what you are.
It's wonderful.
And it's pointing exactly as the same thing as you were pointing to.
Right. And it points right to the greatest secret.
Right.
That's for
Definitely.
Sure. Yes.
So that's a great place to start. So I know you've read the book, The Greatest Secret, and you've been practicing much that's in that book for a long time. So what was your impression as you worked through the book? What stuck out for you? What resonated the most?
The initial impression, it just blew me away. The book, it's not something I can read straight through at all. I have to keep pausing because over and over and over and over, she gives the greatest secret. It reminds me a lot of the power of now, the experience I had with the power of now and continue to have, in that I can't read it straight through. I've never finished Power of Now. I told Eckhart, I can't finish your book. I keep pausing on phrases and meditate on them, sometimes for months. For 18 months, I meditated on one phrase from the Power of Now, which is to offer no resistance to life. In other words, to let go, as you always, to offer no resistance to life is to be in a state of grace, ease, and lightness.
Yes.
I read that. I said, oh my God, that's it. That's it.
Yes.
That's the secret. That's all I need. And for about 18 months, I just every day I would think about, I'd pick up the book and then, I don't need to read to offer no. And then I just got as far as the next page. And what I read there, I thought, that's all I need for the rest of my life. And that's the same in the greatest secret. Any one of those phrases are all we need for the rest of our lives. Whichever resonates with you, over and over, people are saying the same thing, pointing to the same secret. And what I'm working on now with Eckhart is the happiness derived from some secondary source is never very deep. It's only a pale reflection of the joy of being, the vibrant peace we find within when we find a state of no resistance.
Right.
To me, that just says it. That's all I need. He goes on to say, being takes us beyond the polarities of the mind and frees us from dependence on form. Even if everything were to collapse and crumble around you, you can still be at peace.
Yes.
And that to me just says it. That points right to that secret that they're saying over and over. The secret is who we really are.
Yes.
Really are. And we just need to keep remembering that. And then life is no problem.
That's true. Very well said. Yeah, I really feel that beingness or presence of awareness that you are, that I am, that all is already completely free of resistance.
Yeah.
Resistance is just the phantom that of the personal self, how it responds to life. It responds from resistance, and allowing yourself to notice that all resistance is just that. It's not who you are. It dissolves, just like why you were able to spend so much time on that.
Yes. Yeah, it's all just the mind. And as Thich Nhat Hanh said so beautifully always, we have this mind going on, we have these emotions, but they're all like the surface of the ocean. They're all like waves that dance across and they come and go. But we really are you go deeper in that ocean. We are an ocean. We are the whole ocean.
Right, right.
The mind is just little stuff dancing across the surface. And as soon as you go deeper, all is calm.
Yes. And it always is, no matter what's going on the surface.
Right, exactly. Yes. I had a great Zen teacher when I was about 22 at the Maui Zendo named Ketsuki Sekada. And he really had the secret and really did his best to teach it to us. And the Zen way, it is very disciplined, a lot of meditation.
Yes.
And in meditation, we all got the secret. I really think we did. We all learned to get in deeply into samadhi, and a 45-minute session would pass like that because there was no thought. But the problem was then when we got up and got into the rest of our lives, we couldn't hold on to samadhi. At least I couldn't.
Right.
But I looked at my teacher, he could. He was in samadhi all the time. He was laughing, smiling. He was as light as a child. He was 77 years old, light as a child. In fact, Eckhart and the old Zen teacher I had remind me of each other
Right.
very much so. They're very similar. They have this lightness and almost childlike joy in the moment. And in fact, they both would say exactly the same things. Talk about coming from two totally different traditions. I mean, the Zen tradition, has been going on for thousands of years. Eckhart had no tradition, no spiritual inclination at all in his 20s. He was suicidally depressed. That turned out to be his meditation.
Right.
His suicidal depression led him to a great awakening in the middle of the night when he was 29.
Right.
Where he said it felt like a voice hit him in the chest as he was just spiraling into fear, saying, I can't live with myself any longer. It was the middle of the night. It was all dark. And he said it felt like a fist hit him in the chest. And a voice said to him, resist nothing. In other words, let go.
Right.
Nothing. And bam, he had this amazing awakening that completely changed his life that night. He was a totally different person the next day.
Right.
And he hasn't forgotten. I do think we all have had peak experiences, and we all have totally touched into understanding the greatest secret and knowing it's true and knowing it in every cell of our body. But then so many of us, and I include myself, tend to forget it. We wake up the next morning, it's raining, and the baby's crying, and the dog tore up something, or whatever it is. Life throws all these things at us, and we forget. So we just have to keep reminding ourselves over and over through podcasts like this, through our books and audios. We need to remind ourselves over and over until we finally remember it. Every moment of the day.
Yes, that is the key, to have it be your living experience.
Yes.
And if you look into your direct experience in any moment, it's always right there. It's just we usually live life on the surface.
Yeah, that's true. Just go a little deeper. Eckhart talks about portals. portals. There's all these different portals to
Mhm.
understanding that secret. And I mean, the greatest secret is just loaded with portals in a way.
I know it is.
Phrase after phrase, I highlight phrases, and uh, uh, yeah, it's said over and over and over in different portals. And for me, that 3-breath entry I started with, that's a portal.
Yes.
You end up sitting in silence. And for years after my Zen experience, I tried to translate it into my life. My teacher would always say samadhi. He'd walk behind us while we meditated, and he'd whisper, "Go deeper into samadhi, samadhi." And I'd say, "What is samadhi?" That's the Zen portal, you know. And then Power of Now came along, and Eckhart, not even knowing a bit of Zen, brilliantly translated samadhi as presence,
Yes.
as being,
Yes.
as stillness, as even conscious awareness. It's all the same. It's who we really are when we let go of that thought and those emotions. We can let go. We go deeper, and Zen would say we're in samadhi.
Right.
Eckhart just says, feel your being. It's your radiant being. It is. It's so simple. I know for years I kept thinking, I got it. I got it. I got how simple it was. But then my mind would say, well, it's not that simple.
Right.
It's got to be more complicated, because really you're dealing with this complex brain, and you have this subconscious mind. It's like a vast labyrinth or something. And you have all these past experiences and all these traumatic things that happens to everybody. And you got to deal with all of it. You got to shine a light on every one of those traumas and somehow deal with it. And it was so complicated. I thought,
Yes.
really,
Yes.
years of therapy are really necessary. Years, you know. And finally, I realized, no, that's not true. Years of therapy are not necessary. Just really realizing what is right now. And that's said over and over and over in The Greatest Secret. Just realizing what reality is. You know, this mind is just a small part of just a very superficial part of who we are, and even our emotions. It's all this agitated thing is in a way superficial. It's like on the surface, but we're much deeper than that. And all we need to do is get quiet and let that thought go. And suddenly everything gets brighter. And, and we're literally lighter, I think. Literally lighter, because we're filled with light. And I think that light heals us. I think just tuning into our own presence, to use Eckhart's term, is healing. I do think it heals every cell in our body. And these bodies are amazing. I had to Google it. Do you know how many cells we have in our body?
Trillions.
Trillions, yeah. Something like 37 trillion cells. And they work together in perfect harmony. Perfect harmony. We're an incredible partnership of all kinds of cells and molecules, absolutely working together to create this miraculous body. Miraculous is not too strong a word, I don't think.
No, I think, there's this emphasis in some circles on miracles, but to me, and you can tell me if you agree with this, just this moment, whatever life is unfolding, is completely miraculous. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Completely. Life itself is completely miraculous. And just even the fact that we're making these noises in our throats, and it turns into these waves of sound that's going over this microphone that's bouncing off a satellite that comes into our ears and the waves get translated into impulses in our brains. And then we understand what each other is saying. That to me is amazing, that we can understand each other.
Yes.
And talk to each other. That's a complete miracle to me.
It is. It is.
It is. Incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yes. Life itself is amazing. Even just thinking how it somehow got started. These stars exploded and blew out just helium and hydrogen and real simple things. And then all these simple atoms kept getting more and more complex molecules, merging. I heard some scientists studying bosons, and they're firing them. And they said some of them sped up, some of them slowed down, and they seem to have this urge to merge. On a subatomic level.
Yes.
And then these molecules get more and more complex, and then somehow life develops out of this. We don't know how. That's a total miracle. Out of these just simple chemicals, suddenly you have a living, breathing thing that can produce, and it's phenomenal.
It is. Plus, I think you would probably agree with this too. For seeing it from a totally different perspective, this matter model that the world lives on is only the surface. What is, if you pay attention to what's your direct experience, we don't actually experience matter. We experience experiencing. We experience awareness. And that, for the most advanced scientist, is much more immediate than the calculations and the experiments and everything else. And that creates our experience new every moment.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. I remember early on in college, in psychology classes, I brought up consciousness, and they said, you can't study consciousness itself. My teacher even said, oh, the Germans tried that in the 1920s. It didn't work. But now they are studying consciousness.
Yes.
My son is a major in college now, and his major is cognitive science. And they're studying consciousness and conscious awareness. And it's great. Every course he's taking didn't exist when I was in college.
Oh, or when I was in college, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's just wonderful.
Yeah, we've come a long way.
Yeah. I mean, another way to look at what I think you're saying was one of the few things I learned in my study of. I spent 3.5 years in my 20s studying Tibetan Buddhism.
Yes.
I spent 6 months at a Tibetan center, and that really did give me a whole lot. And I think it really helped heal me physically, mentally, emotionally, in so many ways. Just all the meditation was really good for me. The 3.5 years I spent at a Tibetan center in Berkeley, I couldn't get much out of. He kept saying, this is the direct path to basically learning the secret. And I think he had the secret, but he couldn't translate it, in my opinion, very well to us. I finally left after 3.5 years, just feeling it was all sand through my hands. But I kept reflecting, and there were a few things that I learned that have been very helpful there. And one is just one day he started talking. He said, everything that exists has 3 levels. It has its outer form, then it has its inner, level, then it has its secret. And he said, you look at it, you can look at a chair, or even your human body. Outer, we see outer. Oh, he's this height, this hair color, this shape, that's his body. Outer, we see, and that's what our eyes see, all the outer things. But you go deeper within, you get into the inner. Okay, what is the inner part? Oh, well, gee, we have all these organs and things, and we have this incredible, these 37 trillion the things going on, cells working together, and that's the inner. You go to the inner level, but then you go deep, deep, deep into the inner, and what do you get? You get emptiness. You get, they even chant, form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. And that leads you right to the secret level. And that's the secret. That's the greatest secret. It's all they say, the secret is that we're just one with this vast, vast universe. And we're energy, we're spirit, we're eternal.
Yes.
And that's the greatest secret.
Yes. Yes. And that's, and if you look at your direct experience, that's always what's primary. Everything else is secondary.
Yes. Yes. That is true. That is true.
So you've been exploring this for decades and decades, just like me. Mm-hmm. I've been doing this since the 70s too. Been teaching and facilitating with the Sedona method since the mid 70s. And but your work has its own unique richness. And so is there can you give us some specific things from your work that you think complement this understanding in any way?
Yeah, I think every teacher that's worth teaching does get down to the same thing. I mean, that's said over and over, the greatest secret.
Right.
It gets down to the same thing. I know for years, at first, especially when I started publishing other people, I knew that secret existed, and some people really had it. But I often met people who had it intellectually.
Right.
They were the smart ones.
Right.
The ones that went to college and usually could write and were very smart and understood it intellectually, but it hadn't absorbed. They hadn't really learned it.
Right.
They hadn't really learned it. And so I do feel, this is awfully judgmental, but a whole lot of teachers don't walk their talk.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But that's part of the beauty of life, is that you have to be discerning.
Yes, that's true.
And also at the same time, they're a living expression of that same energy, that same awareness. And there's a perfection in that. If everybody was exactly the same and expressed truth in exactly the same way, it would be hard for us to hear. Because I think you would agree with this, that what's beautiful about every teacher is they look at the same, the analogy of the elephant. And someone touches the tail and they describe the elephant based on the tail, yes. or they touch the ear or the trunk or the tusk, and they describe it differently. All together, they help us see the elephant in from many unique perspectives, and that's what good teachers do. They will describe part of the elephant. But if they're really good, they give you this glimpse of the entire elephant, and whether it's only a partial or it's a complete one, each piece, I find what it does is it helps you discover that energy, that truth, or that awareness of beingness within yourself, even if they've missed a lot of the elephant themselves, because they've maybe spent their whole life studying trunk and ignoring the rest of the elephant. But at least they become experts on trunk.
Right. Yeah, and then the trunk is their portal, their particular.
That's right.
Portal. The trunk leads there, the tail leads there. Every little piece of it does lead to the whole.
It's a whole elephant.
That's good. That's true. That's true.
Yeah. One of the wonderful things about doing these podcasts I found is that I have been talking now. We've only released some of the recordings, but I've already recorded enough to go through the entire year. And it's been wonderful. Each teacher I've spoken to, and some of them are in the greatest secret, some of them are just non-dual teachers who weren't part of the book like I was, and there are and also I've been interviewing the people in the Rhonda's first book, The Secret, and then other thought leaders like yourself who maybe weren't in either one of those books, but have such a beautiful thing to contribute to this discussion. And I find that I've been enriched by every single conversation, even though there is a profound living experience here of that, which is the book The Secret is talking about. Still, when I hear it from other perspectives, it somehow just makes it more beautiful, more available. And it's just a fun thing to be doing.
Yes, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's true. That's why so often when we're talking, we will want to hear other people's stories. And I just heard recently Ram Dass talking about when he met his guru. And that was so touching and wonderful to me. And it pointed to a very simple portal. His guru's guru was Ramana Maharshi, who's in the book. I mean, he was maybe definitely one of the greatest teachers
of
the 20th century. I mean, what an amazing teacher. And he kept just pointing within and asking people, who are you?
Right.
Who are you? Who are you really? Are you your body? And he would get people thinking, and that was the portal to really reflect on who and what we are.
Yes.
And then you go through outer, inner, and secret levels, and you reach that secret level that we're amazing forces of creation ourselves, and whatever words it's beyond words, ultimately, exactly who we are.
Yes.
And Ram Dass, I heard him say when he first met his guru, just meeting him, just looking at him and having his guru look at him, he said for the first time in his life, he just felt this absolute love from another person, totally non-judgmental, just complete love that wanted nothing from Ram Dass. He said it's like the first time he'd really interacted with someone who wanted nothing from him was his experience. And I thought, oh, that's amazing. The moment he met his teacher, just feeling pure love.
Yes.
Is what a simple, wonderful portal that is. Just finding the love in your heart, the path of love.
Oh, and honestly, it's one of the most forgiving paths too. Because first off, because love is your basic nature, it is who you are. that makes it so easy to access. But the other thing about it is love forgives, allows, it's
Mhm.
non-judgmental, it has no resistance, it's pure acceptance. And when you approach anything from that place of love, it's a totally different experience, totally different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And interesting, I had I didn't even think about it in those terms, but when I first met my first teacher, the man who inspired the Sedona method work, Lester Levinson, who's also in the Greatest Secret book with me, I had the same experience. I he was a total stranger to me, but there was this pure sense of love towards him and coming from him that I'd never experienced before. I'd met a lot of other teachers, but it never hit me in that deeply as it did that first time I met him.
Oh, yes, yes. That's such a simple, direct path. Love, love, love. As Ramana, I want to, maybe this is, for me, the greatest sentence that's ever been said.
Well, you've already said quite a few good ones, so
the best for me is Ramana Maharshi. He actually said, "The end of all wisdom is love, love, love."
oh
To
yes,
me, that sums it up. So many paths, so many religions, so many ways to, so many sides of the elephant to see and feel, but
yes,
it's only the ones that end in love, 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 that are worthwhile. If,
yes,
if a path does not end in love, it's not a worthwhile path. Same with a religion. That,
yes,
and I look, even like the scientists I know, they get deeply into their science and then it turns into pure love. They're just passionate
yes.
about their whatever it is. I just heard this interview with these two women who studied bats,
Uh-huh.
and the love they had for these bats and
Yes.
their work. They were in those hazard suits going over piles of bat doo
Dung. Right,
and they talked about it with such love and
right, right,
passion
right.
and joy. Their work led them to an amazing place.
Yes.
So science too can be a great path to.
Oh, yeah,
That's for
that's
sure.
true.
So many paths.
Yes, yes. It's
Hmm.
beautiful.
Hmm.
You one of the things you talk about in your work is that middle part is just looking, the secret, I mean the greatest secret in that book. There's an emphasis on recognizing that you are just the pure awareness. You're not anything else. And to me, that's the same as love. Love and being is exactly the same thing. When you
Mhm.
really love something, you become it. You
Mhm.
recognize the underlying unity. But in your work, you emphasize something about love and compassion. And can you speak a little bit more about that, bringing it into life?
Mhm. Yes, I did write a book called The Greatest Secret of All. So that came out several years ago, where I did reflect on the greatest secret of all. And the first half is kind of like The Secret because it's all about manifestation, the
Right,
secret
right,
of
right.
manifestation. But the second half, I reflected on the greatest secret of all. And when I compare it to Rhonda's book, The Greatest Secret, it's very interesting. I gave this a lot of thought ever since you contacted me and asked me to be here. Uh, and I realized you can look at uh, the world as the outer, inner, and secret levels as we were talking. And in a way, the greatest secret of all, I focus on the outer secret of the great secret of manifestation in the outer world, where Rhonda's focusing on the inner, on what is actually a lot more important and essential. And it's just the inner, like, I mean, like I love Eckhart so much, where he says, get the inside right and the outside will take care of yourself. And it's all about inner, get the inner right and the outside. But then he even admits, he said in one audio that I just loved, he said, because he never talks about manifestation. He was asked to do this series about manifestation, but I know Eckhart, I know it wasn't his idea, and he's not even that interested in it.
Right. I when I saw that, I went, well, this seems like someone on his team said you need to do a course on manifestation. Right?
Exactly. And I'm sure that's true. That I had that same thought, because he actually said, I've got a CD in my car. I have an old car with a CD player, and I keep listening over and over to this CD of Eckhart's. And one thing he says, he does say, if you do just remain in presence a lot, you will be more successful in life because you're more focused. You'll be more successful. And then he said, not that it makes any difference.
Right.
Not that it matters. He said, not that it matters. That's where he's at. Success really doesn't matter to him. When I first met him, he was like virtually homeless. He was homeless for a while. He had no money. He slept in his car and totally loved it. He loved sleeping in his car. He's just so amazing. So when I reflected on the greatest secret of all, I did come up with the greatest secret to outer success, to success in the world, because I must, to be honest, I'm very concerned about outer success. I decided I really wanted to not be a poverty case anymore, which I was until I was about 33 or so. I finally got tired of scrounging for the rent.
Right.
So I ended up reflecting a lot about these things, and I ended up creating pretty wonderful success in the world, and then reflected on what's the greatest secret of that success. And to me, what I came up with, and I encourage everyone to think about it and put it in their own words. But for me, in my words, I really think the greatest secret to a life well lived and to real fulfillment and to success in the world is to love and serve yourself and others. And I even put yourself first. I think we need to love and serve, to really love and serve ourselves. You find out what our needs are and fulfill them. Take care of ourselves. I need a lot of quiet time. I always have, even when I was very young. And I find if I don't give myself enough quiet time, then I'm not as capable of loving and serving other people. Mm-hmm. So love and serve yourself first, and then you will be fulfilled, and then you'll naturally want to love and serve other people. And that's the key to any kind of career or business or whatever. Really, the key to success is you're loving and serving people.
I couldn't agree more. Our organization has always been based on love, service, and integrity.
Yes. Beautiful. Yes, that's it. That's the key. That's the key, definitely. I have on my desk in big letters, there must be a quote from Henry David Thoreau. There must be the generating force of love behind every effort destined to be successful.
Yes. Beautifully put. Beautifully put. So is there anything else that you'd like to share with all of us that you think would be helpful as a takeaway or something to focus on for a day, a week, a month, the rest of our lives? You've already given a lot of that. This is not taking away from what we talked about, because it's been fantastic. But is there anything you want to add?
Gee, I do often end with what I just said. To me, that is a great secret, just to love and serve yourself and others. I think that's a good thing to reflect on for a while.
Yes.
Take care of yourself. love yourself. You're an amazing miracle of creation.
Right.
All are. And just that love will resolve so many things. There's no need for problems in our lives.
Right.
When we really find the right secret that works for us, that all problems dissolve. As Eckhart keeps saying, yes, we all have a life situation. We all have particular situations that arise in our life that we need to deal with. But we also, and this is another portal. He puts it in so many different ways. And so whatever our life situation is, keep remembering that we are life itself. We're not our life situation. We're not our thoughts. We're not our feeling. We are life itself.
Yes.
We are the absolute pure forces of creation that have created this magical body, and that to me is a wonderful portal. I love the way he says portal, just entering into that quiet state of stillness beyond all thought is a very easy, direct path.
It is. And I think people who've been listening to this conversation are probably feeling a lot more peace than they were when they started.
I hope so.
Yeah.
What do you have to share to leave people with?
Well, if I was going to say anything, I'd say to them in this moment, if you just look at your direct experience, you can actually feel experientially that love and that peace and that joy that you are. And allow yourself to just be with that, nourish that, support that, acknowledge that in this moment and through everything you do. Because the more you do that, the more it becomes a part of your living experience.
Yeah. That's well put, Hale. That's very good.
I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Marc Allen. You can learn more about Marc at marcallen.com. That's MarcAllen.com. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe so you have immediate access to future episodes. Please give us a 5-star rating and share it with the people you care about. If you'd like to learn more about my work, my mentor Lester Levinson's work, and the Sedona Method, please visit www.sedona.com. As you explore our site, you'll learn the key to lasting happiness, success, peace, and emotional well-being. We have books, courses, events, and plenty of free material to explore. Again, go to sedona.com. That's SEDONA.com. Thank you for being here, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Letting Go and the Greatest Secret.